Hello, hello. Welcome to the Heal to Manifest with the extraordinary, the amazing Joseph McClendon III. He has been my mentor for 11 years now. Drastically and radically has changed my life. Let me just go ahead and make sure you guys can see, hear, and chat with us because he is going to be chatting with everyone. Let's see here. Hello. Please tell me in the comments one thing that you're grateful for and where you're from. What's one thing that you're grateful for and where you're from? Because we want to know this webinar, this healing session is going to be so powerful. Joseph has changed my life more than any other mentor in the planet. He's rewired my brain for success, health, happiness, and freedom. And I'm excited for him to do the same. No pressure, Joseph. Please help me welcome the one, the only, the amazing Joseph McClendon III.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. And you could never give me too much pressure. It's been 11 years.
11. Can you believe we've been
I
doing
know.
this for 11 years? Yes.
Wow, wow, time flies. Well, hello, everybody. I'm at a disadvantage because you all can see me, but whether it's me or the way that it's set up, I can't see you. Let me see if I can do that. Nope, I can't see
Can you
you.
see the comments for everybody?
I can see the comments, but I can't see their pretty happy smiling faces.
Great.
And uh, and that's okay. We'll go from there. Well, first off, hello everybody, and if I know you, hello again. And if I don't, we'll share a little bit about me here in just a little while. But for the time being, I want to throw it right back to Carolyn and say thank you to you, Carolyn, for allowing me to, come alongside of you and work with these amazing people and share something that is my passion. And it is my passion because somebody shared it with me. And not only has my life been better and I'm going to say blessed, if you will, but I've been able to share that with other people as well, which is my passion, not just at this stage in my career, but my entire time through. So I want to start things off by just sharing something that this is about healing and what Carolyn calls manifestation. And I call manifestation magnetism. And the reason I say that is, let me set myself up so that I can show you guys something that I love to show just to kind of prove my point. Manifestation, it's all true. And the laws of attraction, it's all true. And it all works. As a matter of fact, that has been my secret weapon. And what I mean by that is that what got me on this path of abundance and healing and giving back was at the worst time in my life, somebody brought something into my life that availed me to the basics, if you will, of attracting things into my life and changing my mindset and changing my life. And it was the bottom of my life. Some of you know this because when I was 17 and a half years old, three grown men tried to take my life because of the color of my skin. And it destroyed my self-esteem. It destroyed my self-worth. It destroyed everything. And I became homeless. And what changed that was somebody gave me the book, Think and Grow Rich. And I know, as a matter of fact, I can interact with you guys here. Type a one if you've ever read the book, Think and Grow Rich, just so I can say that you guys are, okay, so now watch this. How many of you actually did what the book said for as long as the book said to do it? Yeah, most people not. Most people read it and go, this is great, and did it for a little while, but didn't continue to do it. I've been doing it my entire life. So much so that when I started to study psychology and I started to study the sciences, and even when I taught at UCLA, I delved deeper into and brought the science to the front. The reason I share all that with you is because when that person gave me that book, and insisted that I read it, and I read it. It changed my life, and it changed how I went about things, meaning how I went about bringing things into my life, but most important, bringing me to it, because you can attract stuff all day long. And if you are broken inside, if you have inhibitions, if you have, self-esteem issues, any of those things, worth issues, then you'll push that stuff away. And I'm going to prove it to you here in a second. And so it's all science. And so when I went back to him and said thank you to him, or to ask him how I thank him, he said, Joseph, you do the same that I've done for you for as many people as you possibly can. And so that's why I'm doing this now. But I realized just a little while ago that I say a little while ago now, I'm realizing it's been over 11 years, that doing it alone is one thing. Doing it by myself, I'm going to impact a lot of people. And I have the privilege of being around. I was just last weekend, I think it was last weekend, there were 10,000 people in the room and another 3 or 4,000 people online. So I have the privilege of being in front of a lot of people. However, what I realized, which is part of the reason why I'm doing this with this amazing lady right now, is that alone I can touch several, but with somebody else, I can touch millions. And
Mm.
so that is why my collaboration with Carolyn for the over 11 years right now, she is such a gladiator in terms of, just I'm sure you know this just by being around her. She's not just infectious in her energy, and there's a reason why, as you're going to see here in a second, but her giving and kind and loving heart helps other people as well. So it allows me to be an extension of her and vice versa. So having said that, um, I want to share with you something, and this is science. No matter what you say, because this is not crystals and unicorns and rainbows. There's value in that stuff. And I showed these before. I taught at UCLA for many years, and I had to, everything that I talked about, I had to back up by science because I taught to engineers and managers, and they, unless you can prove it scientifically, get out of here. They don't want to hear it. And they will beat you, not physically beat you down, but they'll psychologically beat you down if you can't prove it. And so what I'm about to show you, follow me on this. And this is proof that what I'm about to, two things I want to share, three things I want to share with you. But one of them is I want you to think in terms of magnetism as well as attraction, as well as manifestation. It all works together. But this is the science side of it. So your brain gets to constantly go, oh, that's what's really working. Let me start here. Everything on the planet, not some things, not most things, everything is made up at its subatomic level of three things: protons, neutrons, and electrons. That's it. Air molecules, water molecules, anything, you break it down, that's what happens. And electrons are what hold everything together. Let me repeat it. Electrons are what holds everything together. Go do your own research. Electrons are just electricity. That's it. Every cell in your body, like I said, everything is made up of the same thing. The more electrons, the more electricity there is, the more energy something has. When you look at somebody like Carolyn, it's no doubt that she's got energy. Yes, it's in her smile, it's in everything that she does. She's not just attractive physically, but she's attractive that people want to be around her. And that comes from she's got a higher raised level of electricity. But here's the cool part about it: the more electricity something has, stores, and emits, the more magnetic that thing is to things like it. Let me repeat myself. The more electricity, the more electrons something has, the more magnetic it is to something like it. Let me give you an example. I have two magnets here. I keep them right here because these are my favorite magnets. I play with them all the time. But if everything on the planet is made of the same stuff, protons, neutrons, and electrons, so is this. Now, this just happens to be iron or steel electrons. That's what's holding it together. Now, on its own, it's just a piece of steel. It's just going to be a piece of steel with its standard amount of electrons. But if I bombard that steel with more electrons of a certain frequency, of a certain type, then that piece of steel is going to become a magnet. So I have two pieces of magnet. There are two magnets here. They're just pieces of steel. And these are very, very strong magnets. Now watch. Remember what I said. When you bombard with something, the more electricity something has, the more magnetic it becomes to something like it. And this is a magnet, this is a magnet. And this is emitting electromagnetic frequencies, and so is this. You can't see them. You can't see in between there. I call them unseen forces. Type of 1, if this makes sense. Okay. Now, watch this. If I let go of this one, watch what's going to happen. It's going to go to that one. If I let go of this one, it's going to go there. Unseen forces are pulling them both together. Now, I have an ink pen here, and this ink pen has a piece of steel on it. It has not been magnetized. So if I hold it here, it's not going to go towards it. It's not going to. But if I bring it to it, it's going to stick to it. Why? Because this magnet has some pull on this, but this one is not going to go towards it. Why do I say that? Because you can want something all day long. And when you do, you become you magnetize that which what you want, and you magnetize yourself. Now, it's coming towards you, no doubt. But if you're broken inside meaning if you have challenges about your own identity, who you are, what you're capable of, what you're worth, any of stuff like that, you literally will push it away. Type of one, if you've ever sabotaged yourself, you've wanted something, and you know what you needed to do, eat the right foods if you're going to go on a diet, you want to lose weight, or, make this phone call if you want to start a business or write this book. But you said you were going to do it, but you went and ate cake or, scrolled on your phone or whatever. We all do. But let me explain to you why. Because all of those things, what happens to us in the midst of what we want, fear shows up. Fear shows up. And I call them the toxic 10, the 10 most basic fears in human being. And here's what they call it. Watch this. Matter of fact, type of one, if when I go through these, as soon as I get to one of them, that you go, yep, that's me, or yep, that has stopped me, or yep, that has held me back, or yeah, that is something that I need to work on. Watch this. Procrastination, hesitation, fear of failure, fear of success, self-doubt, self-loathing, imposter syndrome, stress, overwhelm, fear of rejection. All of those. Yeah, yeah, everybody's lighting up. Some of you you typed 10 ones. Yeah, all of them. That's called the human condition. Fear is always going to be there. Fear is going to show up. And there's no fearless people. Fear is there for a reason. But there are people who fear less. And what that means is that when fear shows up, don't stay in it. There's a triggering mechanism. I call it neuroencoding. There's a way to condition yourself that when fear shows up, yes, deal with it and snap out of it. Do it automatically. A friend of mine calls that, unless you do that, unless you avail yourself of the skill set of, let's just say, taking yourself out of fear and putting yourself into optimism. And there's a process. Again, I call it neuroencoding. And that's, again, why you're with Carolyn right now, because most of us can't do it. Otherwise, here's what's happening. My friend says this. Otherwise, what's happening, you're just rearranging the furniture on the Titanic. And we do that over and over again, but you know where it's headed. So watch this. So when fear shows up, that toxic 10 shows up, you literally push what you want away. Now watch, here's my metaphor. Let me see if I can do this. Yeah, here we go. Okay, here's my desktop. Okay, so I have these two magnets, and watch this. If I take these magnets and I put them here, right, and I let go of this one, it's going to go there. If I let go of this one, if I let go of this one, it's going to go there. But watch this. When I let go of both of them, they both move. Watch again. They both move, okay? Which means they're both moving towards each other. Type of one, if this makes sense. Okay, I'll wait. Perfect. Now watch this. If I take this magnet and I turn it over, watch what happens. Even if I force them together like that, if I let go of it, it'll push it away. Unseen forces. Unseen forces. Okay. Now, the reason I share that with you is this. Those unseen forces are happening all the time. Flipping the magnet over is called reversing the polarity. The way you have reversed polarity in the past is fear. So when fear shows up, I can't do it. There's something wrong with me, or I'm not smart enough. I'm too black. I'm too white. I'm too short. I'm too fat. I'm too whatever. That's fear. It flips the magnet over and you push what you want away, dispelling the concept that if the laws of attraction are the laws of attraction and we attract everything that we think about, you and I would be dead a long time ago, because most of the time before you met Carolyn, we think of negative stuff all the time, and we'd be attracting all the things that we worry about to us. No, the universe is here to heal you. The universe is here to assist you. The universe is here to help you thrive. And that's a belief system, okay? Having said that, what I want you to get is this: the importance of you being on this call, or anything that brings with it the promise and the process in the moment and through time of healing the toxic 10 within you. Restores your magnetism. Anything. And I call it stay close to the fire. I talked to this to another group the other day, and that's this. Did you know that back to caveman days, did you know that the biggest cause of death? Now remember, what happened to the woolly mammoths and the saber-toothed tigers and all of those mammals during that time? It was something called the Ice Age. Now think about this. The Ice Age wiped out. Now for dinosaurs, they say that there was a big meteor that hit and it wiped out then. But then the Ice Age came. Now what happened to those mammals that were thriving? They froze to death. Now, if you look at it, go back, paleontologists will tell you, masses of them froze. You know, the ones that didn't? The ones that stuck close to the fire. The ones that not only learned how to be around the fire, but those that built the fire. And then they learned from them and they built the fire. Those were the survivors. Now, that's just a metaphor, but the reason I'm saying this is the importance of, for my success, Carolyn's success, for your success. I say this any at web seminar or workshop that I'm in. I always say this, that everybody's success, no matter what, has always come from, we've always had a coach, a mentor, or a teacher that we've allowed that person or those persons to push us beyond what's comfortable. And we stayed close to them, whether we wanted to or not. But when we willingly did and we went after, let me be around those people, let me be close to the fire. Here's what happens. Not only do you stay warm because you're around them and you get that electrons and stuff around them, but you also learn how to do it for yourself. You see, I'm here, I have a great life as a result of the things that I have learned and some more things that you're going to learn from Carolyn and I. But I'm here because I've had great mentors and I've always kept myself around the fire. The reason I'm on this call right now is not just because I get to expand and expound this information. It's because it's the fire for me as well. And so my deepest wish for you is that you get this stuff and you learn it for yourself. I'm looking at my watch, Carolyn, make sure I'm on time. Okay. Now, lastly, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you two things, and then I'm going to turn it over to Carolyn, and maybe we'll have some conversations about what you can do, what's important to you, where you are right now. And don't I'm not gonna say sell this short. Don't go, okay, that makes sense, and I'm gonna do it on my own. Don't make that mistake, because I used to feel that way. It's just like trying to learn an instrument. I'll do it on my own. Yeah, you can do it, but it's gonna take you 10 times longer, and you're not gonna be as good. So there's two things I want you to know. Talking about instruments. There's enough empirical evidence, meaning enough data since the dawn of mankind, caveman days, okay, to back up what I'm about to say. And that is this, that anything that anybody else can do and has been successful at, you can, and let's just say could have done the same thing or better than them, or very close to it, if you did what they did. Now, let me qualify that. Let me repeat myself. Anything that anybody has done, if you look at anybody that's successful in anything at all, there's enough evidence to prove, and then it's the likelihood that it's an unbelievably high, I'm going to say 99% probability that if you did what they did, then you can be as good, close to, or better than them, or you would be if you'd have done the same things. Now, let me qualify that, because you may say, well, wait a minute. Are you saying that I'm going to use an artist, I like to use somebody like Michelangelo, because he was talented, yes? But I'm going to use a more recent artist. And I'm using, music and art as an example, but it's synonymous with business. It's synonymous with health. It's synonymous with anything at all. Anybody that you look at that it's at a high level of success. And I'm going to use the artist Prince, the late, great Prince, one of my favorite musical artists. In my opinion, the greatest musical genius of all times. Now, he had very special circumstances when he grew up. He had a musician as a father. He had an abusive father and abusive mother. He was in, the coldest place in the United States. We had no time to go out and play, and all those elements added up. But this young man started at a very young age, obviously the influence of a musician being around, and there were situations and circumstances that made him who he is, and all of those intricate things put together made that individual who he is. Well, there's nothing to say that you couldn't, at a very young age, take a child and expose him or her to those types of situations And that child, had that child, you'd done the things that made that child yearn to be music, to learn music and do that stuff. That child doing exactly what he did, practiced the way that he did, studied the exact same things that he did, all those things, and even had experiences. You or anybody would be close to or even better than that individual there. That's my personal belief. If you can take that and you can use it if you want, or you can just use a little bit of it, which is what I encourage you to do. Because people will say, no, that person is talented, that person is skilled. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe that person is born, if I wanted to play basketball and I was up against a guy that was I'm 5'9". If I was up against a guy that was 6'10", there's a probably better chance he's going to be a better basketball player than me because he's physically and genetically predisposed to be tall like that. But it doesn't mean that I can't be close to what he is. And evidence of that is all over the place. Spud Webb, I see somebody says it right there. Pretty short guy. He was 5'4", and he slammed dunks. Okay. So could we do it? The answer is yes. But the truth of the matter is, you can't go back to 2 years old. You can't go back to, when Steph Curry was, and I use sports examples, or anybody, and you cannot duplicate all of their experiences what they had. But here's the other piece of it, that you can compress time. You can't go backwards in time. You can only go forward, but you can compress time, and you can have a mentor or a teacher or be close to the fire around somebody that's going to go do this, 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 and this, and you're going to change the most important part of you. Watch this. The most important part of who it makes Prince who he is, makes, anybody that's, whether you use finances, health, happiness, anything like that. The most important part of what makes them who they are is who they believe they are. And what I mean by that is that you cannot change what you do until you change what you think of you. Ooh, that rhymed. You cannot change what you do until you change what you think of you. I got to write that shit down. Hang on. Sometimes it just flows. All right. So, but here's what I mean. If you believe that you are, let's just say, worthy, you can do it, you're worth it, you deserve it, all those things, that you are amazing and all those things, guess what happens? I just showed you. You flip the magnet back over, and that which you desire, that which what you want, not only flows towards you, but you towards it. This is the foundation. This is the foundation of achievement and what I call being wealthy. Wealthy means to be healthy, happy, and financially abundant. And that is our goal. We come on into this planet wanting those three things. Now, when you're a baby, it's not financially abundant, it's stuff. Okay. But you want to be healthy. And, babies, they're not the smartest thing in the world. But guess what? They want to eat, they want to drink water, they want to poop, they want to pee. That's healthy. And if you look at it right now and you go down to, somebody on their deathbed who is, suffering from some sort of dis-ease, guess what starts to go not first? Your appetite. If you start to look at, I've had several people in my life pass away, not the least of which, probably the most recent, I'm talking dying of natural causes, I lost 9 friends during COVID. And guess what happens? By the way, when you're asleep or you're in a coma, guess what you're not doing? You're not eating, right? They got to pump fluids in you when you're not eating. Okay. When you're suffering from some sort of cancer or something like that, the appetite goes away. You stop eating, right? And you're not happy. Remember, wealthy means you be healthy, happy, financially abundant. And those things go away. And when they do, your will to live and all that stuff, your body starts to shut down. Not to be morbid about it, but flip the switch. Flip the switch. And what I mean by that is, let's start putting ourselves as much as possible, whenever possible, around the fire. Around the fire, so that not only you stay warm and not just survive this, because things are crazy right now, and most people are in survivor mode. Not you. You are here because you, as I say, those of us that dare to dream while the rest of the world is having a nightmare, and they are, most of the world is. not only are you going to create the abundance that you want for yourself, and remember, abundance means more than enough than you need, more than enough. Not only are you going to create the abundance for yourself, but you're going to be a shining example for other people as well. And so my deepest wish for you is this. You find the fire to be around. Obviously, this fire right here is available to you all the time. The fire to be around so that you become the fire for others. The world needs you. I encourage you, get all the health, happiness, financial abundance that you want for yourself. And that is what comes along with it. But be that example. You don't have to do what Carolyn does or what I do, but be that in your own sphere. You become more magnetic with the more electricity that courses through you. And the more electricity that courses through you, by the way, fire is just electricity. That's it. Everything on the planet is just electricity. And so I did it. I stopped before time, which is, by the way, it's one of my shortcomings that I'm working on, and that is, I love sharing this stuff, and I will run my big fat pie hole as long as I need to, and sometimes more. But I'm going to turn it back over to my dear, dear friend and colleague, Carolyn. And I know you have some questions, Carolyn.
I do. Oh my God. Can we like say yes in the comments if you felt like things he said really impacted you? I was taking notes. I still take notes after 11 years of what Joseph says. He just, every single time, I'm like, yes, magnetism. Like the magnet exercise. Who loved that magnet exercise where the magnet was trying to chase the other magnet? It's like, nope, here I go. It's like, so Joseph, someone asked in the comments, what if life has really knocked you down? And when I meant Joseph, for those of you who don't know, I was literally going through a divorce and living in my sister's basement at the time. And I remember, Joseph, 11 years ago, you said to me, you said, I'll mentor you on one condition, and that is that you help people when you get to the top. And I'll never forget my answer, and I know you loved it, which was, I'll keep my elevator's doors open on the way up. And that's how this was born. That's how the inner circle was born. Because I realized that after these events with Joseph, after the calls, I would just be so magnetized, but then my energy level was dropping. And so being around the fire, being around people is so important. And so I created the inner circle. Joseph comes in once a month to mentor us, and he's a total rock star at it. And then each week, every Monday, I'm doing a live healing and meditation to really magnetize us. And so I'm going to post the link. If you do want to apply to join us, you can. I'm about to ask Joseph some questions. We're not done. We're going to keep going. But I want to make sure that you guys have this link. Yes, she said, I need to be around this energy. Yeah, so I posted this link for you guys. If you do want to schedule and apply to join the inner circle, you're going to get on the phone with me, not a team member. This is a very special inner circle, and we can talk about your healing and magnetism and everything else. So I posted that link. So Joseph, here's my question. And I know you guys can post your questions in the chat as well. So my question to you is this. I remember when I was down on my luck and, in there, and I remember your voice that you kept just saying, you have to be clear. One of the best things you told me was get clear on what you want. Because I remember what I would do is I would talk about what I don't want. And I would just go to the drama in my life, and you would constantly bring me back to, what do you want? And if I said more money, you would say, okay, well, here's $1. No, you need that clarity. So tell me more about that, and how, if someone's really had a tough life or they want to go to that next level, how do they start doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. First off, that's a great point. And remember, magnets work two ways. Remember when I showed you with the ink pen? With the if the what you want is not magnetized, it's sitting there. It's not going to come towards you. Or if you are not magnetized, you're not going to go towards what you want. So you got to do both. And the way to do that is, as Carolyn said, get clear on what you want. That's the step number one. As you said, like I had a practice in Los Angeles. I was a psychologist, and I had a practice where I'd help people get over fears, phobias, and emotional challenges and things that hindered their lives. And inevitably, they'd come in, they'd sit down, and I go, what do you want? And they go, well, I don't want to be, depressed anymore. I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be this. I don't want to. And I go, okay, wait, what do you want? And they go, well, I said, my life is a mess, and I don't have what I want. And I go, okay, great. What do you want? And they go, like I said, I literally had a guy go to me one time. I go, what do you want? And he goes, I'm depressed. And I go, okay, what do you want? And he goes, I'm just sad all the time. And I go, okay, well, what do you want? And he goes, I told you, I don't want to be like this anymore. I don't want to, and I go, okay, great. What do you want? And he goes, I told you, I'm depressed. He says, sometimes I'm even suicidal. And I go, okay, great. What do you want? And he goes, I told you. And he said, depression washes over me like a debilitating, scalding hot wave of lava. And what that's telling me is that that guy has flipped the magnet way over, because the energy, the electricity that comes off of what you don't want is pushing what you want away. It's all energy, it's all electricity. And so when I get him, and I get him pissed off like that, and I interrupt his pattern, I go, so, let me tell you what you might want. You want to be happy? Yes? He goes, yeah. And what happens with him? He calms down. And I go, tell me what that looks like. And I had him literally sit down and write it out. Remember, what you write is what you invite, not what you type. Ooh, I'm about to make something up brilliant again. I'd made this up before, that what you write is what you invite, but what you type, it might. Hmm? It might, but it's not absolutely guaranteed. But what you write, you will invite in your life. So I had him write down exactly what he wants. And that alone is 90% of it, as far as I'm concerned, of your success is knowing what you want. So not only, you get clear on it, your goals get set that way and everything, but you literally, electromagnetically, cosmically, however you want to do it, you start to magnetize yourself and that which you want as well. So clarity on what you want. Like she said, I said, here's $1, here's 50 cents. You're sort of getting what you want. And most people don't even realize that they have already what they want. You're already healthy at some level right now because you're drawing breath. You're on this side of the dirt. You're already happy on some level because everybody here can put a smile on their face. You're already financially abundant in some level because you're talking to us on your phone or on your computer. You had to afford that. But guess what most of us think? Here's what I'm not, I'm not the weight that I want to be. I'm not I'm not happy all the time because my relationship is that, or, I don't have enough money to get that Ferrari or get that, new whatever. Instead of going, well, wait a minute, here's what I am already. And that's your psychology about you. And then here's what I want. And it makes you feel better. And when you feel better, electrons, electricity, magnetic.
Oh my gosh. I'm blown away by all of this. And it's interesting because I'm still seeing everyone in the comments asking that question, but I feel like you just answered it. But maybe if you could go deeper into it, how can we change our mentality after having a traumatized event? So basically, you're basically saying we're programming ourselves every single day. And I was programming myself for income, my health, my relationships. I was already programmed from when I was a kid. But when I started working with you, everything started changing very drastically because I started to believe I was someone different. I started to believe if Joseph can do it, then I could do it. And I kept surrounding myself with you and other people who were living their dreams instead of people who just continued to talk about the negativity and just bring me down. And because we become like the five people we surround ourselves with, right?
No
And so I was
doubt, no
like,
doubt.
and so I knew that if I continued to see you do it, because I was having a hard time going from like to despair to resolve. It's definitely possible. But what I did is I just kept saying, okay, if Joseph can do it, then I can do it. That means it's possible. And then my energy level jumped up to it's probable. And then it jumped up to it's inevitable. But it took so magnetism isn't just like an overnight thing. It takes time to embed or reprogram, would you say?
Absolutely, absolutely. And let me answer your question, or let me dispel a myth. Now, by the way, anything that I say, that's just me saying it. Okay. If it works for you, that's great. If you can use it to change the quality of your life, then that's even better. And I will say I have got 40 years of doing this. So anything that I say comes from these two things. My mentors have taught me, and I did it, and I've taught other people, and they did it. Remember what I said about the book? You can just read it, and that's great. You go, okay, that's great. That's knowledge. But doing it is wisdom. That's what produces results. So hear me out on this one. Let me dispel the myth of drama. Okay. I'm not drama, trauma. Okay. Trauma is a very, very real thing. And so what I'm about to say does not dismiss it or make it any less than what it really is. But that's the challenge. Remember what I said, get clear on what you want, but get clear on what something is as well. Here's what it is from a neurological, from a scientific, from a psychological standpoint. Trauma is our consistent attachment to something that was an immense amount of pain in our past. Our consistent visiting, our consistent access to it, our consistent connection to it, our consistent, watch me, remembering of it. We have a neurological pathway that is strong attached to something that happened to us that hurt us in the past, no matter what it is. And it's irrelevant of what it is, because some of you have trauma because something horrible happened to you. I did. I had trauma. People tried to take my life, and it wasn't just what they did to me, it was what they said to me. That was traumatizing. And I hope none of you ever have to go through that. But then somebody can also have been teased in high school, or somebody said something mean to them, and that's trauma to them. And we built a highway between our conscious and our unconscious that makes it so that it's connected with easy access, and we filter everything that we do through it. Well, watch this. Type of 1, if you've ever forgotten something. Everybody. Type of 1, if you've ever done something stupid again. Everybody. It's because you have a direct highway to your unconscious and your conscious mind of what you don't want. You see, when I say like this, to dismember means to take apart. To remember means to put back together. We can pick and choose what to dismember and what to remember. Trauma, the past does not change. You can do nothing about changing the past, but you can do something about changing how you feel about the past.
Yeah.
In other words, when something happened to you, there have been things that have happened to you in your past that traumatized you in the moment, but now you look at it and you go, oh, that wasn't a big deal. Or you go, that has shaped me who I am. Or you look at it and you go, why did I get so upset about that? We can have had, and probably everybody on here has had a situation in our lives when we got our hearts broken by somebody that we loved, and we thought that this was the person, and they either rejected us or something happened, and they traumatized us. But now we think back and we go, a jerk that person was, and we're not traumatized by that. Traumatization is the remembering, the consistent remembering of it, consciously and unconsciously. So there are processes to dismember that. And now you're not, like I said, rearranging the furniture on the Titanic. Because if you dismember, and by the way, this is not squashing it down and putting it away. That's what you're doing by doing anything other than addressing the issue. Listen, I always say this, and it's the truth. I had practice in Los Angeles. If you come into my office, you got a fear of dogs, take a guess what's going to be in my office. There's going to be a dog, because we're going to deal with it right now. I'm going to put it in front of your face, and that fear that comes up, we're going to dismember
That's right.
you from that. So I get passionate about this, but I'm not going to apologize.
No, don't apologize for your passion. Who's picking up what he's laying down? Say yes in the comments if you're like picking up what he's laying down. I'm feeling all of that passion and that energy that we can change our life. And I remember, I had a very traumatic childhood, and then I went back, and instead of saying like feeling bad about it, I was like, I just had understanding and compassion that this person must have been really hurt to do what they're doing. So
Yeah,
then
I'm going to stop you for a second.
yes,
Only
do it,
I'm going
do
to
it.
stop you for a second, only because I want to make a very fine distinction of what she says now versus to what she used to say. I've known this woman for 11 years now. Okay, so she used to say, "I had a very traumatic childhood. I had all this stuff," and now she goes, "Yeah, I had a very traumatic childhood." There's the difference. Understand? The way she feels about her childhood.
Yeah.
Please get this, everybody. What you say is how you play. What you believe about yourself. Now she believes, yeah, I had a very traumatic childhood. Means I had some shitty stuff happen to me when I was a child that I wouldn't wish on anybody. And that's the past. But here's what I learned by it. And let me warm you by my fire. Sorry, I interrupted you, but go on.
No, I love it. And it doesn't just, the cool thing about this is, I know you know this study, but relationships I think are really important. Who here, say yes if you would like better relationships. I know I would. And there was a 75-year study done on what is the number one thing that it makes people happy. And it wasn't success, it wasn't the finances, all that stuff. It was the quality of their relationships in their life. And the reason I share that, Joseph, is because I feel like that's what you helped me do. Because as soon as I was like, yeah, it wasn't that bad, I started treating my mom and dad differently. I was treating my sister differently. What used to trigger me was like water off a duck's back. I'm
Mhm.
walking around tickled pink with my
Yeah.
life. Not all the time. Of course, I still have bad days and I still go through things, but most of the time, I feel pretty happy. And so that rewiring, I think, would you say that's magnetism? Like I wake up in the morning and I'm not having thoughts of dread. I'm like looking, my brain is like looking for reasons why this could be the best day of my life. And so can you talk a little bit just about the reticular activating system and why that's so important? And then I'm gonna ask a question a few people asked too.
Okay, so yeah, first off, there's magnetism, and magnetism comes from you adjusting your electricity, your energy, and you adjust your energy by changing how you think. That's it. It's always think. Feel is energy. Feel is electricity. How you feel about anything at all. It can be measured on an EEG machine, an electroencephalograph machine. The energy, the electricity that you're putting off. But you make it happen by what you think, what you focus on, what you say to yourself, all of those things. And so that's the adjustment. Remember what I just said about her, the way she says now, I had a traumatic childhood versus, the way that you say it, the way that you represent it in your mind,
Yeah.
think it will determine how you feel in the moment. And how you feel will determine what you do. And what you do will determine what you get. And
Mm.
so if you start there by changing and systematically adjusting how you think, and it doesn't mean that you got to go back through your life and relive every horrible thing that has happened to you. And this, I like what you said before, Carolyn. This is a process. This is not something that, it is true. If you come in and you got a fear of dogs, you're going to be over that fear. You're going to be holding dogs at the end of that. But you must maintain it. I'm going to give you something to do outside of here. And, to be at the risk of sounding arrogant, I have had and have the privilege of coaching and mentoring and being around some amazing people, Academy Award winning movie stars and little rock stars, Grammy winning rock stars and major sports figures and millionaires and billionaires. And guess what? They're all people. And at the core, they're all afraid. They're afraid they're not going to get what they want. They're afraid there's something wrong with them. They're afraid that people aren't going to like them. The toxic 10.
Hmm.
And so, getting clear on what you want. I forgot your question, Carolyn, but I get excited about this.
Yeah, no, you're answering it. It was about the you're pretty much answering it. It was about the reticular activating system.
That was it. That was it. Say so. Okay. In case you don't know, you have something inside your brain. Remember, this is science. It's called your reticular activating system, and it is basically this system inside of you. All of your brain works together, and it says that which I look for, I will find more of. That which I look for, I will find more of. But the thing is, what are you looking for? What are you consciously looking for? So if you consciously, and it's magnetic, so when you look for something deliberately, your electromagnetic energy grows. And when you do, and you're looking for something, that becomes magnetized. Let me give you my real quick analogy of this, how it works, okay? We all are electricity, right? Human beings, it ebbs and flows it grows and shrinks with our thoughts.
Hmm.
Why? Because our thoughts determine our emotion. Good, positive expectancy thoughts, it grows big. Curiosity, it grows big. Toxic 10, it shrinks. But there's a quality to that, and that is this. When you put your attention and intention on anything at all, four things happen. Your electromagnetic energy grows. Let me give you the example first. Type of one, if you've ever been sitting in your car and you feel somebody looking at you and you look over and they're looking at you. Or you look at somebody else and they feel you looking at them and they catch your silly ass looking at them. Now, first off, here's what happens in there. Four things. Number one, remember what I said, curiosity, whatever, positive expectancy, hope, whatever, your electromagnetic energy grows. Second thing that happens is they feel it. That which you're looking at feels it, whether it's a human being or you're using a human being, for example, now, feels it. Third thing that happens, because they feel it, they're going, oh, what is that? Their electromagnetic energy grows. Fourth thing that happens, you're both electromagnetic magnets, you're drawn towards each other. It's why you look at each other. But watch this. What happens when you catch each other looking at each other? What do we always do? We look away. Look away. You look away because you're afraid of rejection. You don't want them to judge you. You don't want them, and that's flipping the magnet over. Somebody typed in, you disconnect. So your reticular activating says that which you look for with expectation of either being a part of or having or anything like that, with positive expectation, you will find more of it. But not only find more, but you'll bring more of it into your life. And so you activate that reticular activating system by deliberately looking for what you want. See how it all works? Knowing what you want, looking at it as often as possible, adding the emotion, lights up the world.
Oh, I love it so much. I love that so much. Oh, I'm really feeling it. And everyone on here right now, you are in the field, in the space, everything. Because I believe, Joseph, and I'm sure you believe, energy is everywhere. Like we can feel energy even at a distance. That's why when we come to these Zoom calls, I can feel it. When I'm doing a meditation or I'm listening to you, I can feel my energy raising. Like you were saying, the electricity in my body's going up. And so I would love for everyone, just while we're doing this, just focus, just pick one thing for now on what you want. Don't talk about what you don't want. Because I feel like, Joseph, when you asked me that question 11 years ago, you were asking me that, what do you want? I know it's such a, I know it's such a simple question, but it got my brain thinking, well, I've been so focused on what's happened or what is that I don't even dream or visualize or feel creative enough to put myself out there. And I remember, like when I first started, I would videotape myself like 85 times. I would want to throw the computer against the wall because I was like, it's got to be perfect. It's got to be right. But you taught me that authenticity, just being myself, was the key. But that clarity too, that knowing what I want, you would say gets you 50% of the way there. And so when someone, this, I think this is the question that I'm getting to. When someone knows what they want, and that's what I'm asking you guys to do, put in the comments just one, just pick one thing. It could be health, finance, just choose one for now. But when they figure out what they want, what's the best way to not walk down that same past pattern of old negative thinking or thoughts or programs or patterns? Because Caroline Miss says that 60% of our energy daily is going up to holding up the past. That blows my mind. That's
Yeah.
60% of energy that I could be using to help my family or my business or the world or my health. And so how would you say that someone would do that, would go up against that, and like what would
Well,
you
you,
say?
you said you said to not walk down that path. The simple answer is walk down another path.
Hmm.
That's the simple answer. But watch this. When you ask everybody here to write down something what you want, be cognizant and aware of what you think when you write what you want down. If you write down, I want $1 million, there's going to be, in most people's cases, a yeah, but attached to it.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I. Yeah, but they. Yeah, but it. Yeah, but. And whatever that is, that's your toxic 10. And so, what we say is, again, I want to remind you guys and reiterate that this is not a one-time thing. I appreciate you being here with Carolyn and I, but it's not a one-time thing. Here's what's really great. If you cut yourself, you don't have to tell it to heal. It will heal.
Hmm.
But if you give it, the body, what it needs to heal it, then it will heal faster. And so, whatever age you are, 30 years old, 40 years old, 60 years old, I'll be 72 years old in less than 3 weeks. Whatever
Woo!
whatever age that you're at right now, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The next best time is right now. And so, to answer your question, it is when you write down what you want, okay, something is going to come up. And whatever comes up that does not serve you in the terms of, yes, I deserve it. Yes, I'm going to do what it takes to make it happen. I'm excited about it. I'm going to stay excited about it every time you think of it. Whatever comes up is your toxic 10. And
Hmm.
so addressing that And to answer your question, it's not just because you have to not just decide what path you're going to go on. You're going to have to decide what path to go, what that path is, and how to go on that path. That's why I can't tell you enough. You see, I have the privilege, and I say it's a privilege, and I'm unbelievably grateful for it, and I thank God every single day. I have unbelievable mentors in my life, not the least of which Deepak Chopra and Les Brown and Tony Robbins, and the list goes on and on. Jay Abraham. Some of these people are in my faculty of my university or my institute, but they're my mentors, and I don't just, they're busy, but every chance I get with them, I stay close to that fire. And so to reiterate, the number one thing that I'm going to say to answer your question, go down a different path, but learn what that path is and have a guide that's going to take you along that path so that you are more likely to go on that path anytime because the bad path, listen, you may think this is the wrong path that I want to go on and this is the right path. Well, guess what? That, excuse my language, asshole is going to show up because it's going to circle back around and it's going to hit you again. And when it does, you have to be not only prepared, but conditioned to go, oh, see ya, and keep going on the path that you want.
Mm.
Don't do it alone.
Oh, I love that so much, and it's so true. Oh, it's so true that I don't know why sometimes as human beings we try to do it alone when other people, when
Yeah.
we're around them, that group energy and just being able to heal together, grow together, and focus, and say even when we're down and out, we're like, oh, my doubt's coming up, and you're like, remember who you are. You got this. You're incredible. That because those outside negative comments, they can become like those inner bullies, but it's same for the positive comments, right? So when you're around those mentors, they can also become those beautiful voices within as well. So someone was asking if there's one process that you can give to us and really be able to, like, something they can walk away with today and use. You've already given us so much, but to become more magnetic, to get more energy up in our body, if there is one single thing or that we could start practicing every day. And he's already said it. I'm not sure if you guys heard him, but this being in the energy, being around the fire, getting a guide, these are very important. That's why the inner circle is so powerful. So I'll post the link again for you guys who have not went and scheduled your appointment. Go schedule your appointment with me right now, because I'm telling you, being around Joseph, being around the inner circle, it's gonna change your life. But Joseph, so what is that one thing that you think would be
People
there?
always say that one thing. It's never one thing, Carolyn, especially with me. Matter of fact, when you hear me go, lastly, it's never lastly. There's always something else. But here's what I will say. Two things, okay? You said one thing, but it's two really important things.
Yeah.
One is the carrot on the stick. And what that means is your not hope, but your intention and the energy that you get from something that is ahead of you that you want creates that positive expectancy. The analogy, in case you don't know what that means, is donkeys or mules are stubborn animals. You can't push them, you can't pull them, they'll dig their heels in and they won't move. But the farmer needs that animal to pull the cart or pull the plow. So what he does is he takes a stick, he ties a string on it, and on the end of the string, he ties a carrot or a piece of fruit, and he sticks it in front. You've seen it in front of the animal. And the animal sees it and it goes, that's what I want. That's what I want. And it starts walking towards it to try and get it. And it thinks it's going to get it, but it's pulling the cart or the plow. So for human beings, it's the same thing. We have the same kind of nervous system. Put something in your calendar that is going to happen every month or every week that you're looking forward to. Let me ask you a question. Type of one, if, I'm looking at the numbers right now, you're all still here. Why? You're here because you're getting something of value and you're getting something that you know that, hey, if I do this, my life's going to be better. I'll be healthier, happy, financially abundant. That's so let me ask you a question. How would you feel if you knew this was going to happen once a month or once every couple weeks or once every week? That's your carrot on the stick. That's the number one thing that I'm going to tell you. Okay. So that's the number one. But number two is this, and I'll end on this silly little story. Okay. So there is a woodcutter, and this woodcutter in the days of yore, he's the best woodcutter in the land. He's 72 years old, and he chops wood faster and better and more wood than anybody else in all of the land. And challengers come in from all over the place, and he always wins. But one day, oh, he met his match. A very young guy. He stepped in and he was just ripping with muscles and energy, and he was just determined and confident. And he challenged the old man. He says, "Old man, your reign is up. I'm stronger, I'm faster, I'm younger. I challenge you to a duel." So the town got together and they made this big pile of wood over here, and they made this big pile of wood over here. And they said, "Okay, you're going to chop for like 8 hours. And at the end of the day, we'll count up and see who's won, who's done the most." So the guy goes, "Okay." The old man goes, "Okay, great." So the bell goes off. They start chopping wood, both of them. The young man's just bam, bam, a steady pace and just knocking wood out left and right. The old man, on the other hand, is just bam, 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 and he's knocking it out. The young man looks over at him and goes, "I got this beat. This guy is slower than me. He's weaker. He's slower than me. I'm just going to keep on doing it." And he keeps on. But to the surprise of the young man, he looks over, and after about 45 minutes, the old man stops, takes out his little pocket watch, looks at it, puts it back in his pocket, throws his axe over his shoulder, and goes up to the hill to a little house, a little shack. Takes a break. The young man goes, "I can't believe this. This guy's taking a break. I don't need a break. I can chop 8 hours straight." He says, "I got this one." He keeps on hitting, keeps on hitting, and keeps on hitting. 15 minutes later, here comes the old man walking down the path, starts chopping again. Bam, bam, bam. This goes on all day long. Every 45 minutes, the old man stops, throws his axe over his shoulder, goes up to the house. 15 minutes, comes back and starts doing. This goes on 8 hours. At the end of 8 hours, the bell rings and they add up the wood from the young guy, and then they add up the wood from the old guy. The old guy cut almost twice as much wood as the young guy. And the young guy goes, What do you mean? How is that possible?" He said, I chopped all day long. I'm stronger, I'm younger, I'm faster. And I didn't stop. And every 45 minutes, you stopped and took a break and went and rested. How did that happen?" And the old man goes, "Oh, I get it. See, you think I stopped to take a break." He said, "I stopped and went up to that house and sharpened my axe." And so the reason I share all of this stuff with you is sharpen your axe. The more often you sharpen your axe, you did it today. It's a metaphor, but the more often you sharpen your axe, I can't tell you, this probably needs to be number one. Look where you want to go, sharpen your axe. And if you sharpen your axe more often, then in no time at all, you compress time, you condense time, which means what would have taken you 10 years, and sometimes most people never get it. Most people die with the same toxic 10. And if you have one of these, which we all do, it is aiding and abetting in your toxic 10ness. And so here's what I've got to go. I got another call that I have to be on right now. But here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to leave you in the unbelievably capable hands, more than capable hands, probable hands of Carolyn. And Carolyn is obviously, I didn't realize this till you said it this morning, 10 years of doing this. And she's got an impeccable track record, because I only get to be with you once a month. And if this has been valuable to you, you ain't seen nothing yet. Okay.
Woo!
Okay. However, it will take care of you, and she'll tell you how weekly. She'll take care of you. There's always something to do. As long as you're looking at that, then you're not looking at this. As long as you're doing that, then you're not doing this. And I use this as a metaphor, but it is the thing most of us doom scroll so much. So I love you, Carolyn. I love you. Everybody else, I look forward to sharing more with you. And I look forward to, remember this, life's always exactly what you dare to make it. And fortune favors the bold. And I dare you to boldly step up and make your life even more magnificent. And magnificent means to magnify your essence. I love you. I'm out.
Joseph, mwah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes,